Hello, this is Inside News. I'm Dale Matthews, and today we're going to be looking at a meeting just happened a couple of hours ago with the county commissioners, Eve Arce, the county treasurer and tax collector, and legal counsel Wally Hicks. And they were talking about marijuana laws. Okay, some of you are bored with marijuana laws, but some of the things that they're saying here that they're going to do in Josephine County are pretty interesting. So here's the first part of that, and they're talking about what the new timeline is going to be for getting things done.
In my discussions with Rob Bobette, he didn't have any examples that I could use. This may be the...
We may do that trailer.
We may do that, yeah, so it's possible this could go far and wide. Or not, in terms of what people are watching to see.
Now, what he's saying here is because Josephine County is first out of the gate, or one of the first out of the gate in the whole state for adding on taxes, local taxes on the marijuana, is this may form a pattern for other counties to copy. And Rob Bobette, who we mentioned, I believe is the fellow from the county organizations, not ONC counties, but the Association of Oregon Counties. And they don't have a lot of advice for legal counsel and for the commissioners about exactly what to do about all this, because it's a new area. And so another question might be, what service is the county providing for this tax that it wants to charge? Well, you'll see. Nobody's concerned about that.
This issue statewide. This may be the first version of the draft ordinance. This is the first one that's written. If they've written elsewhere, I haven't read it. So anyway,
sorry about that. Some parts of this, I couldn't understand the guy, and I'm sitting right in the room with him, and I didn't know what he was saying. That happens sometimes with Simon here. Today it was happening with legal counsel. I couldn't understand a lot of what he was saying, and I've elevated the audio up as high as I possibly can, air conditioning in the room. I've tried to adjust the different levels on there so that you can hear it. I'm sorry, you're hearing it just as well as I did, and I was there.
Yeah, Scott, this is actually, before we get into the particulars of the ordinance, whether we agree you want to do that, I do want to outline the calendar with you have to work in terms of getting something out. And of course, laws do require that this to go on. If you want to just, you don't have to see much, I mean, you can be clear on that. But if you do decide to send it to, or you do decide to pursue a local option tax, it does have to be approved by the electors at the next general election, so in the general election. And that's the only way this could possibly do.
Now, what he's saying here is, it's the best audio I could give you. Sorry. Find it somewhere else. It just doesn't exist. In order to pass this new tax, to do this new ordinance, to put a tax on marijuana in the area, and this county is 50-50 on wanting marijuana to be legal in the state of Oregon. In order to do that, they have to put it at the next election, which is in November. Well, in order to get it on that ballot, then they've got certain things that they have to do in a certain timeline, and I thought we'd just start out, as they did with this part of the meeting, in explaining what that timeline is, if that's helpful to you.
That means the timeline is we need to have this to the clerk no later than August 19th, and that's Friday, so to get on a business session, that's August 17th. It's an ordinance requiring 2 readings, which means that your first reading will be on July 27th, and your second is going to be on August 10th. So everything's got to be all locked down. The language, whatever language you want, this is done. We've done as best we can get it for the first meeting on July 27th. And of course, we're going to full from hearings on that matter and make changes going forward. I don't know what I'm saying. No, it's May 31st. And, you got 8 weeks. I mean, so this isn't a rush job, but there's a close.
Well, I'll try to act as a translator for you on some of it. So Wally Hicks is saying, we really are on a fairly tight timeline. If we want to get this thing on the November ballot, you're going to want to look at the documents, and you're going to want to present this to the public under a certain timeline. And Keith Hicks says, well, it's still May. Yeah, today is the very last day of May. Something that Keith wasn't able to keep track of. So anyway, just a little bit of comedy from Keith Hick. Inadvertent.
A person who purchases, acquires, holds, owns, or uses marijuana other than for the purpose of resale to another person. So I'm going to resell this to everybody. So
that's a definition. That's retailing. Reselling it usually means wholesale, not.
But why would I not be prevented saying, yeah, I want to buy this stuff, I'll buy it to you for $50 a month, because I'm going to resell it to the customers or individuals.
Everybody in the state is licensed. You have a grow license, you have a retail license, you have a wholesale license, you have a processor license. So in order to transfer this to other than a consumer, you have to show a license. So if you're a wholesaler, you'll have a wholesale license. If you're a retailer, you have a retailer license.
So what we're doing is we're going from a business, cannabis, we're going from the marijuana business that's been here for 2 generations, that operated by just a couple of rules: hang on to your money and don't cheat your customers, I suppose, are a couple of the rules. And now we're going to go to a whole stack of rules, and you have to register everything that you do in every possible way. You have to understand what the definitions are, and you have to, now the commissioners would like you also to pay them a tax on things that they're not doing. So welcome to the everyday world, people who are involved in growing marijuana and smoking it.
That's, I think, the difference is between sale and retail. Reselling it is I'm just going to buy it from you and give it to them, and they're going to sell it to someone else. Retailing, I'm selling it to you and I'm making money. So it's almost the resale is a middleman. Retail is basically front man. And like you said, though, it comes down to definitions and what somebody understands what the definition is.
Yes.
Okay, so did everybody get that? I'm still a little hazy on that. Maybe you understood it perfectly. There's a difference between reselling and retailing. And one of them involves a middleman and the other doesn't. They both involve selling things to people, but one's... No, I'm still not quite getting it. I'm sure there's a definition out there, and there's probably people, oh, going, man, Dale, you just don't understand. You think I'm the only one that doesn't understand or is not real clear about the definition, the difference between reselling and retailing? In retailing, you buy something and you sell it to somebody else. In reselling, you buy something and you sell it to somebody else. Yeah, okay, got that one.
We're doing this simply because we don't have that many opportunities to do it. If we don't do it, as the industry matures, then you try to do it later, it ends up being more difficult to do it later.
Now, what was it that she just said? And this was the point. You know, I'm listening to this and I go, no, it doesn't make a lot of sense. This is bureaucratese. This is about definitions. And then Cheryl said, and I'm playing it back to you in the series in which it happened at this meeting today, just 3 hours ago, something like that. And Cheryl says, we're doing this now because if we don't do it now, what was it she said? Let's hear that again. Because if we don't do it now, let's see. Let me play that again. Here we go.
We're doing this simply because we don't have that many opportunities to do it. If we don't do it, as the industry matures, then you try to do it later, it ends up being more difficult to do it later. Right now, the legislature has given us this opportunity. This is the first opportunity. And I think that we need to take the first opportunity, even though there's only one approved in the county so far, and I don't even know if they're open yet.
Now, but it still begs the question, what are you doing as a county to earn any tax dollars. If you're keeping people safe, purportedly, then you can say, well, we're keeping you safe, so we need to tax you for that. And if you're putting stray dogs and cats into a cat house or a dog house or whatever, wherever they go, then you can say, well, we're doing this service. What exactly is it that you're doing for the marijuana people? Well, we're not standing in their way. We're going to pay you for that, and you are. But of course, they always say that they're not. What she wants to grab this as soon as possible because this is the first opportunity. It's not going to be a lot of money, but that's not really the point, is it? It's to get their foot in the door right away to try to charge people for something that they're not actually doing. Now, to me, it's regardless of the fact that maybe you don't like marijuana, I don't use marijuana, all the rest out there. But there are plenty of people who do, and there's plenty of people who don't. That's not really the point. The question to me is the county government doing anything to help promote this fastest growing, I would say it's probably the fastest growing business in our area. Did you know that the police have, according to Cheryl Walker anyway, that the police or a combination of the police and the sheriff's office have gotten complaints from people because land is being bought around them that people want to use to grow marijuana? Is that against the law? If they don't behave themselves after they buy that. But why would anybody, and how do they call the police? They don't call 911, I would hope. Well, people are buying land around me. Where's the business activity in our area? Why, it's hidden, says Cheryl Walker. Why, there's a lot going on that you'll never know about. Right. We'll never know about it. They talked today a little bit about how, on the radio, about how their greatest achievements have been under the radar. You know, people just really don't notice it. There's all kinds of wonderful things that they've done. Everything from people volunteering in the community because of the commissioners, to wonderful rivers and trees and plants, and because of the county commissioners or in spite of the county commissioners. What have they done to earn your trust? What have they done to help promote the area? Why is there a badcounty.com? It's not because there's something wrong with all the volunteers in our area. Heck, I'm a volunteer. Mike and I both are. This is non-commercial. And we go to all these meetings. I go to all of them. I'm not being paid to do any of that. I'm a volunteer. I'm kicked around as a volunteer, but I'm still a volunteer. This is a volunteer website with no commercials on it. Volunteers are wonderful in our area. It's not called Bad County because of twisted rivers. It's called Bad County because of twisted government. Well, anyway, so they're going to try to come up with reasons why they must be paid taxes.
Although there are dispensaries, medical dispensaries that are selling retail right now, but
So they should be collecting tax.
they're paying the state, so that would be, as far as I know, there's only like 2 or 3 of those, to my knowledge, one in Murphy and one in IE.
One in Merlin?
So one in Merlin.
I know there's 2 dispensaries out there. I don't know.
If they're selling.
I think one is selling retail. I'm not sure about the other one. Or recreational.
Because they were given that option since they didn't have the administrative officer. Okay, so anyway, to alleviate your fears on that, as far as you have to have a license to be able to you say, I'm buying this for the bakery, or I'm buying this for the cannery, or I'm buying it to process into chewing gum, or whatever.
Now, maybe I'm just being too critical. I probably am. Cheryl Walker says there that people are buying this for the bakery. They're buying this for the cannery. They're buying this marijuana to put into chewing gum. And she doesn't know where the dispensaries are or how many there are. What is it that the county government is doing to earn taxes? Because maybe they're keeping close track of the business. It doesn't sound like they're keeping close track of the business. It sounds like their number one motivating motivator, motivator. Their number one motivating push is to collect taxes for, hopefully, doing nothing. Let's see if we can find out more about what they plan on doing to help the industry or get government out of the way. Good goal.
Everybody has to register with me and let me know. Oh, 504? Okay, 504. Sorry. Yes, everybody has to register with me so I know who's out there and who I'm supposed to be talking from. They're gonna come in quarterly on the 15th of January, April, July, and October, which are really good months for me too, by the way. Thank you.
Okay, everyone has to come in. It sounded like what she just said is everyone has to register with her, Eve Arce, the treasurer and tax collector, and they have to come in quarterly. Now, why would you think that she would say they have to come in quarterly? Now, think about it. You already know the answer to this. It's probably not something that you think about every day. It's not something I think about every day either, but why would they have to come in to the treasurer's office every 3 months? Because they probably cannot pay by check. Because they cannot have a bank account for their marijuana business, can they? And so they're going to have to carry cash into the treasurer's office. You think I'm making this up? They're going to confirm this at this meeting. They're going to have to bring cash into the treasurer's office, which means they got to haul it down there to the treasurer's office every 3 months to pay a tax. You watch, they'll start calling it a fee, to pay a tax on something in cash. Great.
And this is all my tax collection dates. So they're going to come in, they're going to present their documentation, their records. It's basically the same thing that they present to the state. I'm going to know how much they've done retail. I take 3% of that. They're going to give me money. We're still working on how I'm going to track this, and we just deposit it into an account, do the coding through our financial package, and then divvy up on basically the next quarter. I would say like the end of that month.
Okay, so again, what they have to do is each and every one of these businesses has to schlep on down to the treasurer's office, bring cash with you, bring your records, prove what it is that you've been doing, the same stuff that you're turning into the state. Bring that with you. How are they going to pay their state taxes? How are they going to pay their state taxes? Are they going to put cash in an envelope? Are they going to have to travel up to Salem? What are they going to do for that? But here, I don't have the answer. Maybe you know already. But here locally, bring your paperwork with you. Can you imagine if your relationship with the IRS was that you had to go down to their office, bring all your paperwork every time? It's like an audit every 3 months. Bring all your paperwork with you. Bring cash with you. Bring, your papers are not in order. And bring it all down there. And can you just imagine the counter time that's going to be involved with what looks like at the moment is one of the fastest growing industries in our area? The sheer counter time alone is going to be a lot of work for the treasurer's office.
Everybody has to register with me and let me know. Oh, 504? Okay, 504. Sorry. Yes, everybody has to register with me so I know who's out there and who I'm supposed to be talking from. They're going to come in quarterly on the 15th of January, April, July, and October, which are really good months for me too, by the way. Thank you. And this is all my tax collection dates. So they're going to come in, they're going to present their documentation, their records. It's basically the same thing that they present to the state. I'm going to know how much they've done retail. I take 3% of that. they're gonna give me money. We're still working on how I'm going to track this, and we just deposit it into an account, do the coding through our financial package, and then divvy up on basically the next quarter, I would say like the end of that month.
Okay. Now we're coming up on the best quote of the entire meeting, the best quote of the day, the best quote of the week so far. It's only Tuesday. The best quote of this month in June. Listen to how Eve Arce, this is the county treasurer, said what she says about dealing with these marijuana folks and cash. And now what are we going to do with the cash? How are we going to work with the cash? How's the county going to take on the responsibility of working with that cash that's been given to the county by people who are still on the federal list? Whether you think it's right or not, they are on the federal list of felonies. Isn't it right? Am I wrong about that? Okay. Here's what Eve Arce, the county treasurer, has to say.
How does ours work with the handling of money and stuff that you cannot do? As far as checks and that kind of thing goes, I mean.
No checks, we're probably gonna be cash on it.
But if you're taking money from a registered marijuana dispensary, how the heck can you say this cash is not from a federally
I can't tell you right now. I'm on a live
agency?
show.
I mean, I see, where's the leeway for that?
The state's accepting it.
That's basically what I have to base that on, is if the state can accept it and put it into their banks, I'm gonna have to do the same thing.
I think the bank accepted like $38 million they recently, over the last few months.
Yeah, and that's just it, and I really don't think the banks are looking that closely at it. I also know that basically it's gonna be commingled with everything else that we do. I mean, it's not gonna be any more smelly than what I get in December, November for property taxes. Or yesterday, no, or last Friday. So that's just basically, it's gonna have to be just overlooked, and it's gonna go to the bank, and they're gonna take it, and it's basically now it's longer.
What did she just say? What did she just say? What did the treasurer just say? Let's listen to that again. I just love this quote. Okay, here we go. What did she just say?
It's gonna have to be just overlooked, and it's gonna go to the bank, and they're gonna take it, and it's basically now it's laundered.
And that's basically how it's laundered. Can you believe that? That's our county treasurer. So the county treasury department is going to be laundering money for the marijuana business in our area. Now, you might say, well, what do you expect them to do? Maybe we should not be collecting taxes on a county basis until it's legal to do so. Well, the state of Oregon is doing it. And that's on them, and they've got deeper pockets. What happens if there's a change in Washington, D.C.? What happens if there's a new attorney general? I'm not saying I love this idea, but some of you are pressing for a change in Washington, D.C., and you'd love to have a new attorney general. And what would that person potentially say? Because right now, we're on a teeter-totter. And it's legal in some places and not legal in more places than that. And it's still listed as something that you're not allowed to do, which is why they can't put any of their money in banks. And you've just heard the county treasurer saying, and that's how it's laundered. What do you think about that? You'll have a chance to get up and speak to the county commissioners about whether you think that this regime, I'm using that word on purpose, that says, I know we're breaking the law and I don't care, is now pushing for the laundering of drug money, because it is a drug. Well, of course it is a drug. Of course, there's plenty of things that are drugs that are benign. And there are people who say marijuana is benign too. And then there's others that say, well, marijuana leads to other things, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to be drug money launderers in Josephine County. Am I reading this wrong? Is that not what she just said? Lovely. What do you think about that? Oops. Okay, just a second.
And the system is that basically the board doesn't become involved until, what, the 45-day? Yeah, it's all handled by the tax collector. The tax collector
Okay.
will send out a notice of non-compliance. And so that's the first flag to the business owner. That
So if these, sorry, this is a little disjointed, but I had to prepare this quickly after the meeting. If the people who are being taxed under this new ordinance, Cheryl Walker loves ordinances. I mean, everything would be an ordinance if she got a chance to do so. If they don't pay, then they've got a 45-day period and et cetera, with the Treasury, okay? And Treasury has to, so you've got to come in and you've got to do it within, well, 3 months is 90 days, right? Okay, so if you don't pay it, then you're on, the clock starts ticking. Now, what happens if you still don't pay it, or you don't think that you need to, or you decide, heck, we never have done this kind of stuff in the past, or I don't like Cheryl Walker, or I don't approve of this ordinance, or I don't want to pay these extra taxes, or half of the people said no to the taxes, the other half said yes, you won by one vote, whatever the deal is, okay? And it might be overwhelming. So then you don't. So then what happens?
they are compliant. And then if the tax collector doesn't hear anything from them, the tax collector will estimate what the tax would have been and communicate that to the owner. Failure to pay the tax will result in a percentage penalty, as detailed in section 701. And if the business owner then disputes the tax, at that point they will have an opportunity to file a what do I call it here? Notice of not appeal necessarily, but a request for a hearing basically.
If they're agreed, and agreed, may appeal to the commission.
Oh, yeah. They also have a circle.
So that's a second agreed.
Yeah, so there's two levels of appeal basically. The tax collector makes a decision, since the notice of non-compliance, the person can request a hearing from the Board of County Commissioners.
No, what? Okay, he's going so fast. He's so hard to understand. It's like listening to Simon Harris sometimes. If they file an appeal, if they want to file an appeal saying, I don't think I should have to pay this because I'm a reseller, not a retailer, or I don't understand the definitions, whatever the deal is, they have to then go in front of the Board of County Commissioners that's going to decide whether they're guilty or not. Oh, there you go. Now, there's something for the county commissioners to spend their time on. Now, why are they doing this? Because according to Cheryl Walker, everything she's ever said, we're going to get, $1.95 in taxes or something. It's going to be some small amount that she constantly says it doesn't make any difference. It won't make us any money. Why are people excited about this? There's nothing to it. It's not even worth the effort. I think they said $15,000 a year. And so the commissioners are also then going to be involved in adjudicating whether people are guilty or not of not paying the taxes. So people are, this is a lot of work for a very small amount of money. Okay, it's a lot of money to me, but okay, so every quarter they have to come down, just like an IRS audit, every quarter they have to come down with all their paperwork and with cash and with their forms, and then they take that into the Treasury Department, and then they talk to them there, and they could say, well, you have not paid enough. Well, I think that I have. Well, we say that you haven't, and so we're going to send you a letter saying that you haven't. And then if they don't like that judgment, then they'll go in front of the Board of County Commissioners, who will then, and who's paying the bill for all this extra effort and for collecting all this? The state already collects it. But we want our own special tax, 3%. And we want to be one of the early adopters of it. Because as Cheryl Walker says, well, you got to take advantage of that right away. Paraphrase.
Board of County Commissioners would then make a decision on the matter, and the person could then subsequently appeal to the circuit court.
So the failure pay percentage is 10 and 30%, that's standard, or is that developer here?
Okay, this is a very important point. Thank you, Keith, for asking a smart question. Okay, but just roll back just a little bit. If they don't like the decision from the Board of County Commissioners, they can go to circuit court. Well, there you go. See, because the courts are just sitting around with nothing to do. And one of the things about legalizing this whole thing was to get it out of the court system, to get it out of the jail system, to stop making all the stuff illegal. But now it could potentially go right back into adding on the county commissioners making decisions and adding in the Treasury Department in a bare bones environment and adding in court appearances because you're not paying the 3%. Now, what Keith is asking is this penalty thing. The penalty amount, where did that percentage come from, Wally Hicks, legal counsel?
This is all new, so I'm assuming I don't know, we're gonna set the standard, or?
I think that's right.
Nobody's not yet.
I'll tell you where I got that was from the last version of the tax ordinance from last year. It was in that draft. And I don't know where that came from. It landed in my file. Okay, we'll start there. And then, but I think we're making that up as we go.
Okay.
I think we're making it up. No, it's not. Wait. I think we're making it up as we go along. That's what he said. I think we're making it up as we go along. Well, Mr. Matthews, you obviously don't understand economic development, as Cheryl Walker says. And what do you expect them to do? Why, of course, they're making it up as they go along because they want to be early adopters. Mistake. And they definitely want this 3%. And how much money is that going to mean for us? And they want to get involved in this business by helping, right, taxing, and that's certain to help it. And so they're making up numbers as they go along to try to be helpful. That's what he just said, that they're making it up as they go along. They're just making it up. And you're required by the state of Oregon, you cannot charge a fee or a tax unless it's for a reason, and it has to be tied to something. So when I go down and I request documents for you, which I have to pay for, and I end up paying $1 for a single sheet of paper, which they already have a copy of, but now they need to do research. Remember when I was there at that thing and it was sitting on her table and I said, well, it's right there. She said, well, I have to research it. And I said, but it's right there. She says, well, I have to charge you a research fee. I said, but it's right there. I was nice about it, didn't yell. And so I paid a research fee and I paid a photocopy fee, although we bought that photocopy machine. We bought all the toner for that. We bought all the paper for that. And we're paying the salary of the person that's doing the photocopying, but we have to pay additional money for it so I can share it for free with you. So you can say, well, there's a reason behind that, Mr. Matthews, because this is information that you're asking for from people that's an addition to their regular duties. Okay. And we need to charge that for you because that's what it costs us to do it. No, it's not what it costs you to do it. It is not what it costs you to do it. But they're required to make sure that they don't charge you any more than what it costs them to do. So what is it that the Board of County Commissioners is doing to earn their 3% tax on whatever the business is? Chocolate donuts. What are they doing to aid the production of chocolate donuts in Josephine County? Anything at all? Aren't they supposed to? Well, we'll just launder the money from those chocolate donuts.
The system is that basically the board doesn't become involved until, what, the 45-day mark? Yeah, it's all handled by the tax collector. The tax collector will send out a notice of non-compliance, and so that's the first flag to the business owner that they are compliant. And then if the tax collector doesn't hear anything from them, the tax collector will estimate what the tax would have been and communicate that to the owner. Failure to pay the tax will result in a percentage penalty, as detailed in section 701. And if the business owner then disputes the tax, at that point they will have an opportunity to file a what do I call it here? Notice of.
It's a triumph of bureaucracy.
Not appeal necessarily, but a request for a hearing basically.
If they're agreed, and agreed to make appeal to the commission.
Oh, yeah. They also have a circle. Yeah.
So that's a second agreed.
Yeah, so there's two levels of appeal basically. The tax collector makes a decision, since the notice of non-compliance, the person can request a hearing from the Board of County Commissioners. The Board of County Commissioners would then make a decision on the matter, and the person could then subsequently appeal to the circuit.
So the failure to pay percentages of 10 and 30%, that's standard, or is that developed here?
This is all new, so I'm assuming I don't know, we're gonna set the standard, or?
I think that's right. I mean,
Nobody's done it yet.
I'll tell you what I got that was from the last version of the tax ordinance from last year. It was in that draft. And I don't know where that came from. It landed in my file. Okay, we'll start there. And then, but I think we're making that up as we go.
Okay.
Now, the other question I have, as far as we haven't decided on the disposition of any marijuana tax money yet.
Now,
That meeting is being held on the 6th, right?
now,
Lip sync meeting.
Well, I was at that.
what was it she just said? All right, we're going to need to see that again. Sorry, I know this is taking me a long time, but what was it she just said? We haven't decided on the disposition of the money. Now, okay, they're going to collect this tax through this convoluted process that we're talking about here. No, it's smooth as silk, Mr. Matthews. And they don't know what they're going to do with the money. Let's hear her say that again.
Now, the other question I have, as far as we haven't decided on the disposition of any marijuana tax money yet. That meeting is being held on the 6th, right?
Keith doesn't know.
I was at that, been invited to that one.
I saw a letter from Diane Hoover. I got a copy.
She was at Custom Founders.
June 6th?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I didn't see any. That I was invited to any.
Not only do they not know what they're going to do with the money, they don't know when they're going to meet to talk about what they're going to do with the money. Now, they've got a timeline, a pretty tight timeline for getting this on the ballot so that they can do the ordinance, so they can collect the money, but they don't have a clue when they're actually going to meet to start talking about what they're going to do with the money. Sound a little bass-ackwards to you?
Anyway, we haven't decided, but that doesn't mean this couldn't be different or separate from, because what that one was is the money we get from the state. This is money that we are collecting. So do we need to put in here how that money will be dispersed?
My suggestion would be no.
What was it that Keith just said? Do we need to put in here how the money is going to be dispersed, what we're going to do with the money? Keith Heck, running for county commissioner, says, my suggestion is no. Don't tell. Does that sound familiar? Do you remember the meeting we played back where he said, let's keep this purposely vague? Let's keep it purposely vague. Why would we tell anybody how we're going to spend the money? Because wouldn't we just have to commit ourselves if we did that?
Because that would, if it's in there, that it's locked in.
I think that's more of a policy
Yeah.
or procedure.
I just want to make sure that everybody's talking.
Yeah. So just wanted to make sure that everybody's talked about it, and there was their talk about it. And so that part of this meeting is over, because we really don't have to worry about how the money's going to be spent, because we're not going to tell anybody how the money's going to be spent. And are we going to meet to talk about that at some point? Well, yeah, maybe. You watch to see if this happens in an executive session. Of course, you won't know, and we won't be able to tell you. Lovely. So let's keep it purposely vague.
Okay, anything else that we need to know about this?
Let's see, well, I do want to note that there's basically 3 lanes, at least from my perspective, emerging in the marijuana conversation, and all of them are going to kind of pop up pretty soon. There's the one that's going to come up next on Thursday, which is in regards to the planning department. And so just as a primer on that, that's not going to have anything to do with the tax. That's a different matter. That is entirely addressing the Rural Land Development Code. And 2 commissioners have come forward so far with different ideas of amending, or having the planning department and the planning commission explore the idea of amending either for setbacks, for grow operations, rural residential, and for fence height requirements.
These are both 2 very important things: setbacks and fence height requirements. It sounds boring, but it's actually a little bit more interesting than it seems like. Okay, so let's suppose that you have 100-foot strip of land where you think, well, this would be ideal to grow tomatoes. It'd be ideal to grow grow marijuana. It'd be ideal. Now, if you have a setback from your neighbor of 50 feet on both sides, that leaves you with a strip of like 1 inch, maybe, on which to grow your marijuana, because the thing is 100 feet wide. So if you have a 25-foot setback from your neighbors, no, out this way, 25 foot, that leaves you half of your property on which you can grow things. Now, I understand the point that maybe they don't want your marijuana plants right next to their fence, because, those little tendrils have a tendency to go right through the fence. And so now you have there are ways to deal with that, kind of like with blackberries, Oregon blackberries. Okay, you might not want them going through your fence and then giving you stickers on the, I think they're wonderful, but not the stickers, the blackberries. But there's all kinds of people. Well, but when you think about it, the smell, which is what a lot of people are objecting to. People right next to it are going to have a smelly. This is coming up real soon. It's coming up real soon. And you watch to see if they can make an ordinance, because they're going to try to restrict smell. Okay, and I'm hoping they'll give that to car repair and maybe gas stations and little children and all kinds of things that smell, right? And they're going to want to apply this to marijuana. So they're talking about setbacks. That's one. The other thing is fence height. Really important idea with this fence height thing. And this is the key. This is the linchpin, like that thing I had over my shoulder the other day. This is the linchpin to the entire idea that the county government is helping cannabis, the marijuana industry. It turns out that the state has a height requirement of 8 feet on the fence surrounding your property if you're growing marijuana, because they don't want your neighbors to see the marijuana. So a regular cyclone fence won't work out. It's got to be a cyclone fence with the little slats in it. You must have a fence that's 8 feet tall. Now, of course, that doesn't explain what you're going to do if you have property up here and your neighbor is growing marijuana down here and they've got an 8-foot fence and it doesn't even approach the bottom of your property. Okay, well, that's one of those unusual circumstances, but that's the state's rule. Okay, so the state said that. The problem is that here in Josephine County, we've got a 7-foot fence. This is what the commissioner said. Now, if this has been solved since then, it hasn't been in any open public meeting that I've been to. We have a 7-foot height limit. That's the height limit. So the state says it must be 8 foot, and we say you can't have it over 7 feet. Has the county done anything to alleviate this problem? Not that I know of, not that the people I've talked to in the cannabis business know of. Okay. Again, I'm not especially in love with the cannabis business, but still, this is a dispute. And this is the ideal place where the county commissioners could get involved. I don't know if they could justify the entire tax just for doing this one easy, simple thing. As it sits now, if you want above that amount that's prescribed by local law, you have to ask for an exception. This is my understanding. I'll do the best that I can for you. I may have some detail of this wrong, or it may have changed 5 minutes ago, but I don't think so. And so in order to do so, you have to have an engineering study that you have to pay for and prove that you had done to add 1 foot of additional fence height onto your 7 foot fence. Now, it can't just be barbed wire, see, because you can see through barbed wire. So it has to be an extension of the fence. And you have to pay to have somebody come in and do that special study for you. And then you have to take that down to planning, and not down to the tax people and not down to the county commissioners, down to planning. And you have to prove to them that you paid for it and you had it done by a reputable outfit that's well known to the county that can certify that you've got 1 extra foot of fencing on there. Now, would it be simpler? One simple thing would be to say, well, we're not going to charge you. You don't need to have that study done. I mean, just add the foot on there. Okay. All right. You know how to do that. Or you could say, I tell you what, could it be vinyl, with little posts, just 1 foot vinyl addition? It could even be colorful or fancy looking, or it could have tiger stripes on it, so it would look like it was the Big Cat Center or something. There's interesting. Or you could say, "God bless Josephine County," and have that as or vote for Keith Heck. There's plenty of things you could put on that. No, that's not going to happen. So you pay for so they could say, well, we're not going to charge you to do that. Or they could say, everybody knew from now on, our new rule is it has to be 8 feet. Because are they going to change the state and the entire state from 8 foot to 7? Maybe not. So perhaps what we could do is we could change from 7 foot to 8. And then all the new people who are supposedly flooding into the county to grow marijuana, have they done this? I don't think so. Well, what are they doing to earn their money? They can't even do something super simple like this. It doesn't matter whether you love marijuana or not. That's not the point. The point is the commissioners are doing nothing, absolutely nothing, in order to make it easier for people. Well, we're not making it harder. Yes, you are, by this kind of stupid rule. And this is the perfect example, fence height. So when you hear these meetings, and that's why I'm going on and on and on, I'm stopping the tape. Hey, keep stopping the tape, because there's plenty of people who have no idea when they're rumbling through these things. And, there's this and that and the fence height and this. Hey, wait a minute. Go back to that fence height thing. They don't like to talk a lot about that.
Or grow operations or residential. So anyway, what I did was I put those both in the same resolution, and you'll see the wording of that, which is coming up Thursday, is intended to be that, okay, you want the commission to look at these matters, but then if something else comes up, we don't have to come back to you for a resolution every time topic of marijuana comes up.
Now, how many people do you think are going to show up to the weekly business session where they discuss this? Remember the last time that we had a meeting where they were discussing something and it was like RXQZW and nobody knew what the heck it was that they were talking about? You think they're going to make it clear, or maybe send out some kind of email to the people that they know are interested in the cannabis business? I mean, that's what I'm doing here with this show. That's what Mike and I do. Okay. But the county isn't going to try to put out the clarion call to people to come in and talk about this kind of thing. They're going to hold town halls, which probably no one will come to, but they're going to pass this before that, aren't they?
That's the planning commission. So that's
There is a planning commission hearing on June 6th on the other issue.
Yes. There is. And that's a whole other issue.
What other issue? this mysterious other issue, there's another issue. We're not going to tell you what that other issue is here. It doesn't really make a difference. It's just their version of transparency on the other issue.
So there's that, and then finally there was Christopher Walker had said that the board wanted an additional ordinance regarding a registration, business registration for.
We have no business registrations in Josephine County. Cheryl Walker has been looking forward to business registrations probably from the first day she was elected. We don't have business registrations here. You don't have to be licensed to do business in Josephine County. And this is one of my arguments with, and one of the things that drove the stake in with my relationship with legal counsel, is that he said, well, these aren't business licenses. If I remember right, I'm trying to quote this right. These are licenses to do business. These aren't registrations. These aren't business registrations. They're registrations to do business. It's one or the other. Okay. And so this is back again. Now, why would they want you to, register your guns? Why would the government want you to register your gun? You already know the answer to that. Why would this government want you to register your cannabis business? Same reason. Register your car, register your children, register your dogs, register your cats. You know, they're far behind on registration of cats and dogs, and they've worked out a deal. You may remember this story. It was from 2 years ago, where what the health director was doing, Diane Hoover, was she was talking with the veterinarians in the area and offering them a cash reward if they turned in people who weren't registering their pets. Your papers are not in order.
Marijuana. Yeah, business. Okay. And so I worked on this one so far. I haven't done anything on that. Not a lot of that yet, but
And now he's mumbling again. Now, why is he mumbling? Because you know that he can speak very loudly and clearly, but he's not speaking loudly and clearly. Is it for the same reason that Simon Hare does that kind of thing? Because it's controversial? Registering businesses. Why would they want to register your business?
And I've talked to a couple of people in the marijuana business and told them that my intent as far as the business license for marijuana businesses, or just all marijuana, not just retail, but marijuana businesses, is because anytime there's an industry that they keep saying they want us to help them, or they, why didn't we know about this, is if we don't know who you are or where you are, we can't help you. We can't notify you. But if we have it.
Now, if we don't know who you are and where you are, we can't help you. You know what? I would just prefer the government doesn't help me in that way. And you look at it from the point of view of people who've been doing this for a couple of generations. And now the government wants to know who they are and where they are, and they want to keep a central record. Does this sound right to you? They want to keep a central record of who you are and where you are so they can help you. Help you do what? Well, we can't just send you an email, or we can't just contact someone that knows a lot about marijuana and they'll let you know. Or maybe we can't just tell the Sun Growers Association that there's a meeting coming up or that we have a new way to help you. No. We're going to need a registry of everybody involved in a cannabis business because, well, this is government.
Business license that are registered and we have an issue come up, we can just send a notice out to everybody. And it's not something we're going to be, trying to be restrictive. It's an idea of trying to facilitate, because I know just.
Does it look like it's past Keith's bedtime to you? Just a second. Let's see that again. It's just a little bit of fun in the middle of all the seriousness.
But if we have a business license that are registered and we have an issue come up, we can just send a notice out to everybody. And it's not something we're going to be, trying to be restrictive. It's an idea of trying to facilitate, because I know just sure as this, and we'll make announcements, we'll advertise it, we'll print it in the paper, we'll do press releases, we'll do all that. And invariably, just like it happened last time, they're gonna come forward, we didn't know about this. Well,
Yeah, there's plenty of things we don't know about. And how about start with those things that we don't know anything about? Like some of the ordinances that you're trying to pass or you've already voted for in the little back room that you haven't told anybody about. I'm sitting right there and I see them do all kinds of stuff that nobody knows anything about. And the only place that you're hearing all this is on this show and Inside News. And so Cheryl Walker is concerned that we need to register. How about registering all the media people or registering all the people who come forward and speak at the ambassador? We could register all of them so we could keep in touch with them, so we could keep track of them, so we can do them government favors. Sure, we could. Yeah, that's the idea behind this.
that's because you register with the state with confidential information. A lot of this, we can't find out who you are.
Yes, good. You can't find out who they are. You register with the state, you're required to do so, or you're in trouble with the state. And now Cheryl Walker wants your name and address also. How much money you make, what kind of business you do, maybe a list of your customers. I don't know.
So if we have a registration, business license, then we will know who you are. So we can send you notices. Come to this meeting. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're thinking about. You know, we want your input. So, and if there's people coming here, I've had people inquire, well, how many growers do you have? We're thinking about putting in a business to supply growers whatever product. It's like, I don't know. So if we don't know, how can we foster further development?
It's none of your business how many growers there are. There's your answer. You can save yourself a lot of time and effort. It's none of your business. And you're not doing anything to earn any of that money. And stop asking for a registry of people so you can keep track of them. This is ludicrous. And this is coming from a couple of people who've got, I mean, Keith Eck got 20%. There's always that 20% that are going to vote for everything. Oh, poisoned apples? I'm going to vote for that. Okay. There's always the 20%. And Cheryl Walker is not even running anymore because she knows what's ahead of her. And they would like you to trust them and send in your registration. Don't register with these guys. Don't do that. What? No, just don't. This is ridiculous. I'm suggesting that you just don't do it. Now, if you have to pay the taxes, then you have to pay the taxes. But any additional registration, no way. And the whole idea was to draw these people in so that they wouldn't be illegal anymore. And then we're going to add this on and that on and this on and that on. And how do you feel about registering all these things that you do with this county administration or any county administration or any government agency that you don't have to? No. Okay. So one last thing here, we've got just a little bit of time left. I want to remind you what's happening tomorrow. You probably won't come, but you probably should. At tomorrow's weekly business session, the county commissioners are going to talk about something that started out with the idea that people did not want to pay the escalating fee for using free parks because you're paying for the parks, right? And maybe you donate some time. And we got all kinds of money that comes into the parks. And the parks are finally in the black because they're charging these extra fees. Well, there are some frugal people who are trying to be fiscal conservatives who decide that they're not going to park at the park. They're going to park on the road leading up to it and walk 2 blocks. No problems. Except the commissioners don't like that. They want you to pay that fee. Now, my understanding is, and I hope I have this right, that you can't require people to pay a parking fee in a county park. It's against state law. I'm pretty sure this is true. At least it used to be. So they don't call it a parking fee. They call it a day use fee. And the day use fee only kicks in when you park there. But it's not a parking fee, it's a day use fee. Now, if you walk in, somehow they'd like you to prove somehow that you walked in, but you didn't park on the street. I don't know how you're supposed to do that, but okay. They don't like the fact that people are avoiding paying the parking fee, as you might do if you go to the fairgrounds. So what I did yesterday, which was Memorial Day, is I went down to the area where they're talking about putting up all kinds of no parking signs, right? And that's on Glease Road and also on Tom Pierce Park. And I also drove by, of course, the main city park where all this stuff was happening for Memorial Day. Now, while it's true that if you're going to park on the street and you've got a big semi-trailer, that would probably take up more room than there usually is on the side of the street to park. The same thing goes for any street, the street where I live. If you park a semi-trailer along there, especially on both sides, that might make it a little tough for people to get through. So what you could do to keep it safe is say, no semi-trailers. Oh, no. They're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to say you can't park here at all. The original idea was they were going to make the roads into parks. Every road leading into, for blocks, leading into the park was now also a park. And so you'd have to pay the park fee. But I think they can't do that because you'd be making people pay to park in a park, which you can't do by state law. So they would have to insist that you were using the road for a day use, as a day use park. A little more difficult to prove, right? And so what they want to do now is they want to put up a whole bunch of, well, semi-expensive, I would think, no parking signs. So that if you try to park on the street, they're saying, well, that would be dangerous. Think of the children. It'd be dangerous, you see, it's dangerous. Well, I drove to those areas. It's not dangerous. Well, you know, as Cheryl Walker just said today, she just said it today. She said, I know there have been some near misses. Who tells Cheryl Walker that there have been near misses on these roads? Does the near miss report come out from the sheriff's department? Would these people who were informing her be the same people that stopped her in the shopping center and said, please, don't have a voter's pamphlet. I'm begging you for no voter's pamphlet? Are those the same people? Is it the 20% that will say anything that these county commissioners want at any time? Or is it just made up? Well, I know there's been some near misses. Really? How do you know that? Show us the proof there's been some near misses. Okay, we show you proof and that we show you videotape and opinions. Where's Cheryl Walker's proof there have been near misses? There haven't been any near misses. This is in her imagination. They want you to pay that fee. Now, if you park on the street when it says no parking, you can be fined a couple of $100. Now, before you think, oh, well, that's why they're doing it, because they'll get the couple hundred. They won't get the couple $100. We need to be fair and honest. Okay, that couple $100 would go to the state because you've parked in a place that the county has said you can't park in, and somehow the money goes to the state. This is according to the county commissioners. But it is definitely trying to force you to park inside that. So when you go to, if you went to Memorial Day to the city park, or to either one of these other parks, or if at some time you decide that you're going to go to your church, or if you decide you're going to go to the fair, or Boatnik, which just happened, and you know, if you parked along the side of the street to be on a float, why, that's dangerous, you see, and you should not be allowed to do so. So what the city should have done is they should have stuck up a whole bunch of no parking signs everywhere in the city, so that you'd be forced to park in a city parking lot at $15 a pop. How about that? Oh, it's not about getting money. No. Think about the children. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. in the Ann Basker Auditorium, you can occasionally put an end to foolishness. Not only through the ballot box, by showing up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the Ann Basker Auditorium. Don't ask you to be there every time. This time might be a good time.